And that's how what we were doing. Everything that we were doing was a hobby. But then also, that's investing time in yourself. You're still working towards something. Mm-hmm. And again, it comes back to those skill sets because you're still working on something and you're learning, which is going to help you in the future.
And no matter what you do, it
goes for everything. Exactly. If you only work one job, you're only going to learn that one thing.
Yep.
You got to take that extra time to learn. Hey guys, Dustin here. Welcome to another episode of Brewing Wealth. Today, we got an exciting guest, me. Today, I'm going to sit down with Jalen and we're going to chit-chat about our goals in 2022 and talk about what we learned along the way in 2021. So grab your coffee. This is Brewing Wealth.
So another episode of Brewing Wealth, the podcast where we talk about motivation, entrepreneurship, business, wealth, and everything above, while we sit here and enjoy coffee at the greatest place right now, With Room Coffee, down on Main Street. Come check it out. It's awesome. Love the coffee. Absolutely amazing. Today I have a white mocha caramel latte, which is super good. Dustin, I got you a chocolate mocha latte.
Yeah, it tastes really good.
If you didn't know already, this is Dustin Dahlin, the man, the myth, the legend behind everything that we do here at Brewing Wealth, and the man, the myth, the legend behind pretty much everything that we do with the new company, New Wave Media. So
New Wave.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you mentioned that, or
it's
what?
the first time I mentioned it, because if I don't mention it sooner than later,
yep.
then it's going to keep getting procrastinated and then pushed back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, yeah, if this doesn't come out for like a week or so, then I mean, it's going to be even farther back to the future. Yeah.
So
no, it'll be an interesting time. Been busy. We've been doing a lot of side gig stuff and dabbling into Lightroom. I've never used Lightroom, so I've been doing that for like some senior pictures for some people and stuff like that.
Lightroom's awesome. So I use that all the time.
Yeah, it's honestly like Photoshop's fun, but Lightroom is definitely more of it enhances the picture, whereas Photoshop is about recreating something new and different. Whereas, Lightroom definitely is the way they go. I never really knew what it was until I kind of got into it with that wedding I did with AJ. Last year.
It's hands-on. I feel like it's a lot easier too. It almost reminds me of like Visco.
Okay.
But like super detailed Visco.
Okay. What's Visco? I know GIMP, that free one. I've only ever used Photoshop, to be honest with you. I've never used anything else.
Visco is it's a social media platform where they only do photography. They just started video, I think a couple years back. But you never heard of Visco Girl, #Visco Girl? You're not pretty big
I know the Hydro
socials.
Flask Girl thing.
You're not pretty big in the socials, are you?
No.
Dustin's too busy creating content.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Let's go ahead and introduce yourself, because this is the first time you're on in a hot minute. In front of the camera instead of behind.
Yeah, I don't think I've been on one of these episodes yet.
No, so talk about it.
Yeah, so hello, my name is Dustin. I started filmmaking stuff kind of back in 2012 with some very cringy old short films you can still find on YouTube. So I'll let you guys do your own research on that. But it started with a passion on that, and just from there, it's just kind of spiraled out to learning how to be more productive with my time and how to, basically build out my skill sets and learn how to, photography, videography, how to edit, how to do some sort of a special effects and After Effects, things like that. And from there, I've just been doing it ever since. And it's been really fun. And it's a fun hobby. And just like any hobby, it's expensive. And, but yeah, I mean, what else you got to sink your money into, So, yeah.
You didn't talk about your band stuff.
No, I know. Like I said, building out skill sets. But we play in a band. We play around. We posted an album last year, 2 years ago now. Oh my gosh, time flies. COVID time. Posted an album then, and yeah, it's on Spotify and Apple Music, and the band's called Overlean. You can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, all sorts of stuff. We've been touring around North Dakota for a while, but yeah, we got some new stuff in the works. Actually, one song coming out this month, so stay tuned for that. If you follow our Spotify and stuff like that on there, and we have an Instagram that my cousin keeps up with because I don't do much with socials, but yeah, you'll find more information there. But yeah, that's another thing I do on the side. So try to balance, this and photography stuff, and then and the band stuff, and then working at Best Buy. That all kind of piles up. So, but yeah, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
Always something to do.
So me and Dustin met at work at Best Buy. Didn't even really know each other.
Oh yeah, definitely did not.
I don't even know how what the first thing was.
Well, I think actually I kind of do remember.
I do remember.
So it was you actually started just wanting to start getting paid to make ads on Facebook.
Yeah,
that's when you first started talking about it. And as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I mean it's super easy because I've done it for all of our band stuff, all of our Overland stuff. I was like, dude, that's just easy, and you could definitely get paid for that because nobody wants to take the time into learning how to do that, and it's the easiest thing on the market to do. And then you just go in and learn how like hashtags work and just regular tagging, descriptions, and how search engine optimization or SEO stuff works. You can really get paid well by popping off doing ads for people. And then that spiraled into, well, I want to do more than just ad. I want to do the advertising. I want to do the videography stuff. And he got into that. And then I just kind of casually just showed him some of the stuff I've done,
Yeah, I'm the type of person that's like, I will harass you with questions after questions after questions until I figure out every little single thing.
I didn't dive right into it because everybody says everything until everyone talks a lot, but no one actually does anything. So I kind of just stayed out of it. I was kind of he said he was going to start filming stuff, so I kind of let him do his thing and just he went and did
Dustin just had his birthday yesterday, so he sounds like a dad now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on my own insurance now, so call me adult. So, So anyway, he did his own thing, and I knew that once he was brave enough to go to any business or just one of the businesses and for them to accept him for just filming on a phone, I was like, oh my God, if they people are accepting shit on a phone, then literally you could ask anybody, and as long as you have a decent camera, they'll do it. And so after that, that's when we started talking more. I'm like, well, dude, that's so cool. You can do so many businesses. And then that's when we got into it, and then that's when we started talking about camera stuff. And then from there, we're just like, let's just work together.
Drag Dustin out.
Let's just work together.
Hey, man.
Out of the woodworks. Out of the woodwork.
I'm sick of these people paying me to show up with an iPhone 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you even have a gimbal yet?
No, I had nothing.
No, I didn't think so. Yeah, I was like
filming somebody's stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
That was so funny.
And that's the thing. You can get by with probably pictures. I think pictures you can get by with on a phone.
Yeah, for sure.
But videography is such a different ballgame because with phones doing auto exposure and trying to auto correct everything, the film aspect of stuff gets lost really fast on a phone versus everything else.
And honestly, guys, I do a lot of film stuff. I'm kind of more of a director, I feel like, than anything, because I don't really...
I will agree with that, because it comes down to, you have your idea, and you know where to get the resources, and then you get people who... I don't want to say necessarily better, but, you get people who are a little more knowledgeable with cinema cameras or other cameras in general, and then you tell them what you want, and you kind of mold it. I mean, that's exactly what a director does. They get DPs or assistant camera operators, things like that, to do the actual recording for you, and then you just supervise and see, I like that, or that's what you do.
Yep.
And sometimes the people running the camera will do something that you would have never even thought of.
Yep.
And that will just enhance the story even more.
Yep.
Which is why I really want to do a short film, because I think that'll be really fun. But it takes a lot of planning, and the planning shit is what I don't like. It's the actual doing part. But
yeah, yeah, it's been really interesting, and that plays a lot with a lot of things.
Yep.
We've talked before, and that's why I really want to open up this podcast too. Is who we are as people.
Mm-hmm.
first of all, getting into like all the film stuff and whatnot,
Yep.
we're totally different people.
Yep.
100%. Like you are a North Dakotan, like North Dakotan man, and I'm from, all over the place with the military and whatnot.
Yep.
So we do have two different eyes for a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like as time moves on, and we start to learn more about each other and start to do different things, we kind of create this weird, fun relationship,
Yep.
And it's just like, things work out. But throughout the process of everything, like we're actually able to like learn about each other,
Yep.
So yeah, like Dustin, I remember showing up to Best Buy and I was like, yeah, okay, you know about the ad stuff, or you know about doing like all this cool stuff. And to be honest with you, I stalked you because I was trying to figure out who did photography and videography.
Sure.
And who was the next closest person to me.
Yep.
I knew like Easton and whatnot.
Right.
Be honest
Yep.
with you, Easton, if you're watching this, I had like no balls to go up to Easton and be like, yo man, like I'm just some kid that you don't know about. You know what I mean?
You want to help me? It's like he doesn't owe anything you.
Yeah.
You know?
But with you, it was like I kind of knew you at work and whatnot.
Yep.
So I knew if you turned me down, you'd kind of feel bad.
Yeah. Well, AJ would be another safe bet, but I think it really depends because like I just happen to be like at that stage with video stuff is like, I have all this stuff, I have all this equipment, and I just hardly ever use it, and not because I don't want to, it's just because I'm just like too nervous to make something bad with this nice equipment, and I'm just like I don't want to put something out that wouldn't be, I don't know, worth my time or worth other people's time.
I look back on all of my other shit,
so
and a lot of it I think looks terrible.
Well,
but
that's
what
the thing.
It is. It's taking the first step forward.
Yeah,
and that's all that counts at the end of the day.
If you watch a lot of creators even say that, it doesn't matter when you do it, but
or how
anytime,
you do it.
or how you do it. But when you start, your first stuff is always gonna be bad.
Yeah,
it doesn't. You could do as much research as possible, but until you actually do it, it's gonna be bad.
For sure.
Like, even if you do a lot of research and you have good cinematography, but if it's like a short film or something you're working on, the script is going to be bad or something, or, your framing is going to be off or something. There's going to be something you're missing or something that's off that you're going to remember for next time. Be like, okay, I got to remember. Like that's kind of like when we're making songs and music, like I'll learn a new way to mix, or I'll find like, oh, you know what? Changing the EQ of the guitar like this actually sits better in the song than what I used to do. And so every new song I make, each of them keeps adding those small improvements, and then eventually they get to a status where they're good enough to the public really likes them, but like I know there's certain minor tweaks there'll always be something to fix.
Yeah.
But I want to get to that point where it's minute things that only I would notice, or maybe other audio enthusiasts would notice, but not like to the general public and things like that. Like that's kind of like a big thing, but it comes down to actually doing it and reproducing and remaking and doing the process, just going through the process over and over and over again.
The process.
Yep, and even editing. Like you get the only way you can get better at pacing into getting better at how cuts work and transitions and things like that. It comes down to just repetition, just doing that over and over again, learning from your mistakes and just building upon them every new podcast episode, every new whatever.
Yeah, and moving into that, let's talk more about just doing things in life. You brought up before that like it kind of took you a while to just go out there and do it.
Yeah.
So what got you to the point where now you're actually starting to do it?
I need somebody else to give me the confidence to do it.
Do you think there's a lot of people like that in the world?
100%.
So would you call yourself, are those introverts, extroverts? Like what is that to you? Like is it just like...
I never considered myself an introvert, but I think there is no... I do think that people are one way or another, but there is also those people in the middle. Like I have no problem talking to friends and family, like up front, talking to them, whatever. But I have a problem or issue going up to people I don't know and asking something from them in return, because I'm just like, I don't feel like I deserve anything from these people because I've never seen these people, anything like that. And so like to go up and offer my services to someone, and then the fear of it not coming out good and they don't like it or something like that, like that could just destroy the creativity. I might be done with the whole thing. And so instead of ever facing that fear, I just don't ever want to do it because it's just so nerve-wracking. I don't want to deal with it. But this whole thing has definitely helped a lot. But honestly, doing that wedding has helped a lot. That one particular wedding, because I've done one prior, but not with like a bigger, like by myself. Like somebody else was maining, and I was just doing I don't know. It just was different. It felt different. It felt way more professional because I had the Blackmagic camera, I had the Ronin, I had to worry about battery management, had all that stuff, and storage devices, and then I was the one who actually had to worry about editing the video at the end and things like that. Like I had way more responsibility on that, and that definitely helped learn a lot. I'm like, okay, if I can do it confidently with a wedding, I feel like I can start doing more of this for other people. And I still haven't passed that threshold yet of still going up and asking people. Like now, even though I have stuff I can show that people hopefully would like and consider it, I still have that barrier where like I don't find myself going into a business and trying to like offer my services, because I just feel like I don't know, it's weird, pushy. I'm a salesman, but it just feels so pushy. I don't know what it is. It's such a weird thing. But that's what I'm saying. There's a hybrid between introvert and extrovert, and I think I'm like right in between there. Extrovert for some things and introvert for others.
Dustin's a hybrid.
Yeah, I'm a hybrid. That's why I need a Tesla, bro.
Yeah. Hey, 2022, we're all getting Teslas. So, one of the coolest things that I've noticed with you is ever since I kind of like brought you onto all this too, I feel like you've also started to create other work outside of just what we've done. How does that look? Is it? What's the question? How does that look financially? Like, have you made anything? Have you experienced anything off of that? Does it matter to you? Do you see it as more as an investment? Because as somebody who does everything that you're doing with like videography work, photography, sometimes doing weddings. If you didn't already know, for the people who are just listening, Dustin did his first wedding, and that's super awesome. But I mean, I've kind of, we've paid throughout, the media company as much as we can.
Sure.
But starting out last year, we could get into that as well. Like, there was not shit really like made as far as like a gradual, I can go quit my job now.
I will say,
how do you see all that stuff?
You mean like how do I view that progress and stuff like that?
Yeah, how do you view the progress and everything like around it? Yeah.
So honestly, I think after that first one, after you get done with your first iPhone and we started doing like Magic Bean Brewing and some of those other ones or whatever, I don't know, I thought that content looked good. Like, there's a few things I go back and color correct, but other than that, I thought visually they looked fine. And like, but honestly, I feel like, I don't know. I guess I feel like it was definitely worth it. I mean, yes, it was a lot of work, and I think we ended up putting a lot of time on our hands, but it was definitely worth it because we got to experiment with all types of products and videography. The jewelry thing, doing something like that was definitely something different and new, because that, as me and you both know, that was a totally different ball game, filming and recording wise. Again, talking about building skill sets, that like skill sets doesn't necessarily mean just learning how to use a camera, but it means learning and how to film certain products. Certain products need different kind of lighting or to pop off, to show certain, value and things like that into it. So you got to kind of learn how certain stuff like that needs to be filmed.
And then on the finance side, how was it though?
Honestly, it wasn't. I mean, it could have been worse. I wasn't expecting as much money as we made, or at least I made last year than I did. I mean, I paid off my gimbal with that money, so made at least $900, $1,000 off of that. I mean, that's worth it. I mean, that paid an investment towards that gimbal I had to buy for that wedding. So I mean, I don't know. I think that was definitely worth it, and it was way more money than I would have ever guessed that we would have ever made, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought the same thing after looking at everything. I was like, wow.
It could have been way worse.
Yeah.
It could have been way worse.
A lot of people always say, like, entrepreneurs and stuff, you got to do stuff for free to understand. Like, I get that.
Yep.
I totally get that, but now it's a new world.
People do realize the time. I mean, if anything, like, you might, even if you don't make the best stuff, people can see the time you put into it, especially if you're going in there filming stuff, and think that people realize like how long you're in there. I mean, you're in there probably a couple hours filming stuff, taking pictures or whatever to make content. and most of them see that effort. Now it depends on where you're at. Maybe the owner isn't there that you talk to or whatever like that. But most of the time when we were there, the owner was there basically anytime you were filming stuff. But I feel like people value time now. And so, like, you don't need to be like, your first project needs to be $1,000 or whatever. But I don't think, like he was just saying, you don't have to offer your services for free to get your first time gigs.
Yeah. To make to even make a penny. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's the mindset.
I mean, if someone's willing to give you $100 to film a short little video to go on Instagram and a couple pictures like that,
Thousands.
I mean, $100 is worth it.
I mean, there's thousands of people that are willing to,
yeah.
pay that.
Oh, yeah, $100 is nothing.
Mm-hmm. I remember Steve Harvey, I listened to him a lot, and he was like, you have to do something. If you can find out how to make $10, then do it 5 more times, and then do it 50 more times, and do it 100 more times, or if you can find out how to make $50 and do it 10 more times, or $100. And that was a mindset I was kind of in.
Yep.
But I realized real quick, like, for a media company, that was a terrible mindset.
Yep.
In a certain way. Because when you're making content, you're trying to create content for people, you can, like, overwork yourself.
Yep.
And that's what happened to me.
Yep.
But I was pretty proud of the work that we accomplished.
Yeah.
And the money that we made.
Yep.
Even though it wasn't a lot, you know what I mean? It was still enough.
Still way
for
more
me.
you would have ever guessed, though.
It was still enough for me to live.
Yep.
Because remember, I quit my full-time job.
Okay. Props to this gentleman right here for going ball. Okay, this is something I would never do. Again, it's kind of because of that line of introvert and extrovert, but he literally quit his job after he got a full-time position, literally like
a month.
And probably not even a month after he got it. Quit it, just went balls deep into this business and was able to just scratch by and pay his bills and everything like that, but it still was making enough to do that. And by the way, he was still paying me and still getting by. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty successful business because there is businesses out there that are like that same way and they're still that way after a few years.
I still took 2 trips last year, too.
Oh, yeah. You went to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we paid for that.
And North Carolina, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Cali, but by the helps of my parents. So shout out you, Mom.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs help from their parents, man.
Pretty much, I think that in that stage of my life, I wanted to bet on myself,
Mm-hmm.
And I was really getting tense at the job.
By the way, this guy was 19 when he started all this. So, I mean...
I don't think I ever told my age on this front.
I mean, that's brave as shit, dude. I didn't... just to give you perspective, my birthday was yesterday. I just turned 26. And I wouldn't have done... Thank you. I wouldn't have done any of this. I still wouldn't have done any of this, even though I was like 25, 26. Because like I said, it's that introvert thing. But so it takes a certain person. So if you see a certain person with a passion of something, and they started something, and they actually went through with it. That's the thing, is people going through with it. But you find one of those people, man, you gotta use them to get yourself kind of like, help them out, but it will help you out in the long run because you kind of get out of your shell a bit. The creative process and anything is really fun.
I think the biggest thing for me is I want to get people to for instance, like at the workplace. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yep.
People are always like, oh man, like you go 110%.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit gets so tiring.
It does. Yep.
I get it.
Yep.
Don't you think I'm tired too?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know. I know. That's the biggest thing is you hear people complain like that.
Yeah.
And like at that point, in my case, I always save my breath because I'm like, you can, there's so many people that pop into my head right now, but basically, yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get it that one job you're doing is pretty tiring, but like, are you actually tired though? Like, I feel like there's a fine line between tiring and just being lazy,
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Like, you could get up at 8 o'clock like we did every morning, because if you work regular 8-hour shifts, I mean, some people work at 10 to 7 or whatever, or some people work or some people work 7 to 5. Whatever time you wake up or do it, there's always time in the day to do one other thing.
Yeah, do something.
And hobbies are a good way to do that. And that's what we were doing. Everything that we were doing was a hobby. But then also, that's investing time in yourself. You're still working towards something. Mm-hmm. And again, it comes back to those skill sets, because you're still working on something, mm-hmm. and you're learning, which is going to help you in the future. And
no matter what you do, it goes for everything.
Exactly. If you only work one job, you're only going to learn that one thing.
Yep.
You got to take that extra time to learn. Mm-hmm. So if you're not in college, cool. You don't need to go to college, whatever, that's fine. but you should still use that time to learn something you're interested in. And then it doesn't necessarily have to be, dropping money into college, but it could be, it could be going on YouTube tutorials or going out there and just taking pictures of stuff, or it could be
fucking planting flowers.
You could bonsai trees,
trees, how to cut them better.
Exactly. Like
figure
any
out
of
what
that
you
stuff.
want to do. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be about money. I know Brewing Wealth is a big thing.
No, it doesn't have to be about money. Building skill sets is so important. That's something.
Brewing a skill set.
Brewing a skill set. That's something me and AJ kind of get into conversations about just
Shout
off camera.
out to AJ. He's going to be on the next episode here soon. If you didn't know already, you can go check out all of our pilot episodes where you can see Anthony Espinoza.
Espinoza.
We call him AJ.
Yeah, we just call him AJ. But so anyways, but that's something we always get into is like, you want to take that time to build some skill sets. Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't even have to be creative. If going to the gym is your thing, awesome. Hey, you're still being healthy. You're still bettering yourself. You can still look upon that day and be like, you know what? I went to work and I went to the gym and had a good workout. That's a good day.
Mm-hmm. Like, my thing is trying to bet. My biggest thing was I wanted to bet on myself. That's why I quit. You know. Before that though, you forgot to mention that I was also working at Starbucks at like 4 fucking a.m. in the morning. Then coming to work a 40-hour shift. And then trying to
spending multiple hours editing and
and then trying to think about like, oh man, like I wonder if I bet on myself and I just start my own thing. You know. Mm-hmm. The idea of like how ballsy it was super cool. Mm-hmm. But I realized real quick that if I was watching a movie one time, what's the movie? Jordan Belfort.
Wolf of Wall Street.
One of my favorite movies of all time, right? Mm-hmm. I realized how crazy it is how blessed we are to live in America. I say this all the time. I'll probably say it on every single episode.
Yeah.
How you can let an ex-con out of prison still make millions doing a certain thing. So I'm like, why the fuck am I worried at 19, 18 years old about all these different things? You know what I mean? When I could just go out there, bet on myself, and see what the fuck happens. If I lose money, it's not the end of the fucking world. There's other things that you can do. Hey, like, I'm blessed to have parents that are like, hey, look, you need some money? Here you go. You know? I never asked my parents once for money, right? Have they given like me anything? Not really. My parents are kind of the people that are like, hey, look, figure this shit out. You know what I mean? Wasn't started off on the good foot on like, hey, here's your credit score and all this. You know what I mean? I don't have nothing in my name or anything like that to build upon. Everything was all by myself. But I thought, how badass would it be to create my own story for my own kids to look at and be like, man. Like, Dad, you had an interesting fucking story. You know what I mean? Like, you bet I did. You know what I mean?
They won't care till they're older, till they're 18. But
But I just love that idea and actually doing something instead of just being the other person. I hate being a statistic. I hate that shit. You know what I mean? When people are like, oh man, you're just gonna talk about it? Like, no.
I know.
I'm gonna look you dead in your face. I'm gonna tell you that I'm actually gonna do it. You know, and I want you to be scared. You know what I mean? Like,
this is the biggest rule of thumb for people who are even in high school right now. This is going to sound very corny, but the grind never stops.
Never.
So the thing is nobody really ever told me this. Like, when I had a high school job, so like you go to school, and then after school I go to my job. I work till 9:00, and then I have homework to do right after work. And I was in basketball, so I have to get up at like 6 a.m. to go to basketball practice before school. So doing that, I'm like, this sucks. I'm doing all this time, and I got to get all my homework done. I'm up so late, and I don't have time to, relax, play games, things like that. But the problem is if you don't realize, this is something I never realized until honestly after college, but that you kind of, that grind never stops. I mean, you can definitely coast if you want your whole life, but don't expect to get great returns. Like, don't expect to have a Tesla. Don't expect to have, a big nice house, things like that. Like,
you gotta be realistic.
Yeah, you gotta
take that calculated risk.
If you want to coast along your whole life, cool. I mean, there's people who don't want to handle the stress like that. That's fine. But you kind of have to push yourself. Like, definitely in high school. This is coming from an old guy now, an old dog here. If you can push yourself in high school, man, like. High school is such a good value, especially those bigger schools where they have like creative media classes, or just like some of the classes I've heard at some of the high schools, like here in Minot, they're saying they have auto tech classes here. Like, I went to a smaller rural school. They didn't have an auto tech class. They had 3 shop classes. We did the same thing. We built the same ice house for the same person in all 3 shop classes, and they were supposed to be all 3 different shop. Like, it was the same crap over and over again. Really take advantage of those different ones in school. Like, it can even be like, theater, or like even like what are they called, econ or something like that, or some econ class if they got it, or to learn about like stock trading. There's so many different classes, or even freaking pottery. I don't care. Like,
I'll be honest with you,
something different in high school.
I
man.
love that you brought that up. It's a cool thing. What I'm going to say about that is, it took me forever to realize how to use what was already around me.
Yep.
As like you said, and that's how I kind of built it over time.
Yep.
Because at one point in high school, I was like, man, fuck high school.
Yep.
I really didn't. I got to the point senior year, like end of junior to beginning of senior year, I was just like, is this even worth it?
Yep.
Like, there's so many more ways to make money online.
Yep.
That like I don't know if I really need this.
Right. Yep.
But if it wasn't for auto tech,
yep,
which I did, if it wasn't for marketing class,
sure,
business class,
yep,
different things like FBLA and whatnot,
yep,
who knows if I would have ever been
yep,
where I'm at today,
yep,
with everything.
Yep.
So I think that it's super important to like use what's around you as your advantage.
Yep.
And that's how you become your own director,
yep,
for whatever you're doing. I love that you brought that up though. That's super important.
Know what kind of kids learn the best of all this stuff? The youngest siblings in the family.
Oh yeah.
Because my oldest brother, he's grinding a lot. He was the one who went to the most schooling as far as college and stuff like that. He's got like 3 or 4 degrees, a bachelor's in business management, associates in GIS, like drone systems and surveying land, stuff like that, AutoCAD certificate, all this stuff, and he went to school and did all that, and he grinded that, but he's so late in life that he had to learn all that and go through school and like that. And then I saw him, I'm like, you know what, like, I can do a lot of this, but faster. So I only went to 3 years of college, and was audio engineering. I went into something I was already into learning, and I wanted to just expand upon that with skill sets. And then my youngest brother, he took advantage of those high school things I was just talking about. FBLA, you mentioned, Science Olympiad. Like, he was into all that stuff, and it was perfect because he went into electrical engineering because he loves like working on cars. He likes building. He builds all sorts of stuff, man. He'll build like, like special fans and things like that for for like class of power or something, like a power battery, and then you can use the battery cell to charge like a flashlight. Like, he's into that kind of stuff. But he took advantage of that stuff in high school because he saw what we went through and what we didn't do, and he wasn't into sports, but he took, instead of not going into sports and then just going at home right away and playing games, he was in FBLA. He did stuff out right after school for certain things. He took advantage of that time, and he acknowledged the grind, and he continues to do the grind. Now he's in college, and he's doing the same thing we did, college, work, and after. But he plays in that band with us. He worked on his skill sets even in elementary and middle school. My parents forced him in piano, but he didn't have to continue that. If he wanted to throw a pissy fit, he could have.
Yeah.
But he stuck with it, and he's learned so much with it. And learning piano, he's learned so much more about like music theory and expanded that skill set. And he's a reckon to be played with, man, with piano. You guys got to see him in person; it's insane. And then on top of that, he's electrical. He's so intellectual, it's crazy.
Yeah, and he was the one that installed those nice LED lights,
yep,
right?
He installed lights. He fixes my vehicle for me. I don't do shit. 2010.
2010 Ford F-150, and I called. He was behind me. Dustin was behind me one night, and I called him. I'm like, bro, your vehicle looks like it's a 2021. How bright it is. Everybody's on the road. It's like, oh my gosh, bro, like those LEDs are so freaking light.
Dude, he just fixes all my stuff. He taught me how to install my own radio stuff, and now I know how to install my own radio, how to sub and all this.
Screen in his 2010. I feel like, dude, like it's so mad.
I got a 10.2 inch.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Screen in my pickup. But like, I learned how to do all that with my brother. He showed me when he was installing it into one of his vehicle, and then I just jumped off and I took the risk and tried to do it myself, and I got to do it.
Yeah.
There was some things I had him come and troubleshoot, but for the most part, I did it all myself. But like, again, expanding skill sets. Like, I don't have to go install my own radio. If I want to pay somebody to do it, I could do it. But it's all about saving that money and then also expanding that skill set. I want to be able to know how to do it. I want to know how to fix my own problems.
Pause right there. Thank you for everybody in Dustin's family.
Yeah. Also,
they're all awesome.
We'll just do a sponsored thing real quick. Thank you, Rebecca, so much for letting us go into Withram Coffee and stealing part of your day into doing this. Bless you. Thank you so much. And anyways, thank you.
Yeah.
But
now, you said something that I want to get on, saving money.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We've talked a lot, and you know me.
Yep.
You know, I fucking love saving money. I guess not really. I'm kind of a big spender, but I love finding different ways to create, exponential growth and brew that wealth that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're gonna start manifesting
those taglines, man.
Yeah,
Brew that, dude. That's a good merch
wealth.
line, bro. Brew that wealth. Make a cheesy rap song.
Where were you before we met? I don't know. Have I ever?
I worked at Best Buy this whole time, bro.
Well, have I? Well, I'm saying like financially. You know what I'm saying? Like, have
coasting?
Have I ever? Between our relationship, have I kind of opened up your ideas with finance? I know credit was a big thing.
Credit for sure, but the biggest thing is like, I don't want to say you were the sole reason why I started to step on the second grind of a second income or whatever, because it definitely wasn't, because I was already doing the band thing prior to that. I mean, I was, but the only reason I was doing the band thing is because my dad did that, and I know that worked. My dad did a band thing for 20 years, and so he made money off of it. That was an extra good solid extra income for him.
Yeah.
And so that was always something we're going into, especially with all of, me, my brother, my oldest brother Dylan, and my youngest brother Devin. We're all in a band together, and then my cousin Sierra is also with that. And that's what I'm getting about, is like second income stuff, because we all do that as a grind. It's very nice, and we use that to pay off some of our stuff. But anyways, it opened up that I was like, these other hobbies, these other stuff I drop money into, that I can make money on top of that and still not cut into my extra time with the band stuff, And I think that's what I expanded, is you made me realize, way late in life, but you made me realize I have more time in a day than there is. Because once you understand the concept that it doesn't matter how much sleep you get, you're always going to feel tired, you realize it doesn't matter what time you get up. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of time in the day. You're going to grind it out.
I love to hear that. I love when people finally figure that shit out too.
Yeah.
And
which is why I continue to do this still, because like I said, I'm always going to be tired. Although this morning I wasn't that tired, but
yeah, which is wild. I thought you would have been pretty hammered, but past that
kind
of era.
Birthday,
no fucking birthday.
Yeah, I never really had that era.
I want to get into saving money and whatnot.
Yep.
Because Brewing Wealth, that's pretty much what we're about.
Yep.
Great hearing your background, both of our backgrounds. Everybody kind of already knows.
Yep.
But when it comes to Brewing Wealth, we really want this to be not only a podcast, but a brand where we talk about building finance and everything else, like I said in the beginning. So I look at finance in a different way, especially if you're under the age of 30, right?
Yep.
And the reason why I look so heavily into finance is because of how I grew up.
Yep.
Right? I don't know if you have kind of the same kind of ways, but who knows, So we're about to learn that today. When it comes to finance and me growing up, I've noticed that there's things that could have been done, that my parents didn't do, and that my friends didn't do, and everybody else around me didn't do.
Yep.
So how am I, first of all, going to do it differently and come out more successful?
Yes. Yep.
And that's no offense to anybody, right?
Yep.
Because everybody has they can reach their potential, with whatever they're doing.
Gotcha.
If it was working at Starbucks or if it was being an Uber driver, you're reaching your potential, right? But I wanted to try and break that barrier of okay, what else can I do?
Yep.
Because I look back on my life and I was like, there's no way that you can make this much money. I always said that to myself. I was like, how the fuck are these people millionaires?
Yep.
And I lately realized that everything that we're taught is totally wrong.
Yep.
Debt. It's bad. Oh, get away from debt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But to actually become successful, if you look at all these multimillionaires that are in debt, to actually grow that passive income.
I mean, it makes sense too. I mean, like just with college, I mean, you're in debt as soon as you start college. I mean,
but you're building an asset, like you said,
right?
For that person,
Yep.
and it's not for everybody because college is not for me. I don't fucking go to college. I'll never go to college. You know what I mean? My biggest thing is I'm trying to figure out a way to not go to college and still come out successful. You know, there's people going to social media marketing as a degree.
Yep.
Dustin, what's the business? It's social media marketing agency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With no college experience.
Yep.
Because I really do feel like my generation for sure, because we have kind of a gap.
Yep.
Like we've been on these phones and computers for way longer.
Yep.
That's like almost like, why do we even need, to go to college or anything like that? But anyways, the money part, right?
Yep.
We talked a lot about it before.
Yep. How
do you feel about cash is king or cash flow is king? How do you feel about credit? How do you feel about debt?
Yeah.
What's your new ideology now? Has it changed? Talk about that.
All right. I won't get into too deep of details here because I think we're at like 45 minutes already here.
See, Man and Myth Legends telling me that we can't go further.
But I work at 10:30, so
you'll make it.
Okay. So when we get into cash flow, yes, cash flow is very important. Cash is king. That mindset I don't like soul believe because like that's like people we get that so much for people when you especially work in retail. They're like, you guys still accept cash here and stuff like that. I'm like, your debit card's plenty good. I mean the money is in there. Yeah. It's the cash flow like you were talking about, like where your income's coming from, in and out. Are you tracking that? Are you pulling in enough to pay for all your subscriptions and crap like that, or you got to drop something, lately I haven't actually been paying attention too much to the stuff I'm like paying for monthly or streaming and stuff like that because my cash flow is good right now. Between, getting raises at work and bonuses and stuff like that from, just from quarterly bonuses and things like that for hitting goals and things like that at work.
Dustin's a beast.
And then going between getting the band stuff and then a little bit of the side stuff like this and then doing some of the senior pictures and video stuff and like that for weddings. My cash flow is pretty good. It could definitely be better. If I really wanted to, I could take the time that I go into, like, I take a lot of time and just do this and stuff like that for the Brewing Wealth because it's something I like doing. If I really wanted to get into cash flow, I would do what you do and go into businesses and ask if you wanted to be like that. But
it'll come though.
But it'll come. I'm not wanting to rush it too much because I just kind of want to enjoy the experience a little bit. But right now the cash flow is good. But if you are one of those people who are coasting, with just your one job or whatever, that's the most important time to watch your cash flow because you only have one source of income and that is your one job.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way I like to see it, and that's kind of how you saw it, is one job is specifically for paying this. So like Best Buy is specifically paying just your necessity bills. And then the way you look at it is all your fun stuff or like stuff that you want to spend money on.
I changed it recently.
Did you?
Yeah.
But like, let's just say like this stuff that you're getting paid for, like this would be for paying off, those vacations you go on and things like that, or paying towards those things. Like
I was looking at it before we walked in, but keep going.
Yeah. So like, for example, some of the band money that I got, like I went ahead and bought a bass guitar with my band money. Like I could have used that money for my bass guitar to pay off more of my vehicle loan stuff. I got vehicle loans, I got loans out on college loans, there's stuff I could spend money on, but instead I want to like reinvest it basically, but also I kind of want to have some fun things to rejuvenate my passion because sometimes, you get into this rut with your hobbies and stuff like that. You need something to rejuvenate that. And so I like sometimes using some of that money that I got and investing again with something fun, but still worth towards the business. Like I'm not going out there and wasting it on money like buying $300 in booze, like. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going out there and blasting my money. Yeah, blasting my money on like booze that's just throwaway money. No, I'm spending that money on something that is still going to improve what I'm going in for.
Yeah.
Or what I'm doing with that time, and so that's how I use my like my extra money and cash flow and things like that. But
That's
boy,
awesome.
he's got his whole description here, boyo.
Oh yeah, I always have a description. One thing I will definitely say is always keep notes of what you're doing, so that you know where your money's going.
Yep.
Right. Sometimes I'm the same way when it comes to subscriptions. I don't know, but maybe that could be our next sponsor, Truebill.
Yeah,
You ever see that on YouTube?
I actually try to use Truebill, but my bank that I go through isn't like an authorized, like it's just a local bank, so they're not authorized on it. So, because I really want to use that, dude, because I know I'm paying for shit that I have no idea.
Hopefully in the future we can get Truebill. But pretty much how I do it is, so I work at a coffee shop in the morning, right? Got the full-time business, got the full-time job, back again. Because what I realized as time went on, guys, yes, I could still bet on myself and keep doing the business thing, right? But it wasn't until I realized that marketing was all like always full-time. You know, if I just plan out when I want to do it, you know, I can still have that money that we signed for however long with the business and have that come in, you know? And then pretty much anything that is a full-time job, you know, outside of betting on myself, that's all my investment money. You know, so Best Buy money is all investment. So I got like 15% going to crypto, 15% going to stocks, 15% going to a traditional IRA, 10% going to a Roth IRA, 5% going to a 401k, and 10% going to liquid cash. So I'm investing a little over 70% of my income from Best Buy. Right, that extra a little bit of money pays off my bills for my living expense. And then from there, everything else that I bet on myself, waking up early ass in the morning, like 4 a.m. to go work at a coffee shop, and then doing all this stuff too on top of that. That's my play money, you know, and also my reinvestment money for the business and for the real estate that I'm hoping to have by this year or next year. That's literally how it's set out. Because I know that if I'm not investing at least close to 75%, I don't really believe anyone, you know, is gonna hit their $1 million mark in a 10-year tenure. You know what I mean? Where I'm trying to and so I'm 20 now. So by 30, you know, I'm gonna expect that I make that much or have that much ready and available. But that's how I do it. You know, and then obviously I have stuff that I don't see. I try not to see. Investing in Apple that pays me dividends. You know, like just, you know, click the button, invest in it. Don't even look at it. Keep it going. But cash flow, that'll come next year or late this year with real estate. Hopefully the market fails. I'm really praying that it does and it drops so that I can, you know, go out there and buy, you know, that next place, make it an Airbnb vacation rental or whatever. But no, I like the way that you do things as well, you know, with your band and with your gig. You know, because you're able to take that full-time money, pay all your necessities, use your extra money towards anything else that you want, and doing this as well to pay off camera equipment or whatever else you want. You know, so what you're doing is smart too.
You know, cash flow works in different ways. He writes his stuff down, which is really nice and stuff like that. To be honest, the way my brain works with that stuff, like, I don't like the number going into number. I hated math, so like I hate
math
going into numbers, stuff like that. I just hate it. But I have an idea of how my cash flow goes through. Because like what I'll do is like, okay, I see in the next 6 months here I have 4 band gigs. We're making about $300 a piece on each band gig. Okay. So going into that, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make $300. I'm going to put this $300 towards this. I'm going to put the next gig $300 towards, you know, my PayPal credit. I'm going to, you know, like I'm already focusing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this money to pay this on, and I'm going to use this money to pay this off because I know this financing is going to end soon, things like that. Like I have an idea of where I'm depositing my money and stuff like that, but it's just all in my head, you know, because the numbers aren't that hard. Like it's exactly $300 or $350 depending on a two-night or whatever.
And you're pretty calculated in my end from what I've seen.
Yeah, I just keep it in my head. You know, it's very straight numbers. You know, like I said, subscriptions are the hardest because those are the ones you don't see until they're already pulled out.
I'm with you on that one too. Because at one time I spent $400 a month in subscriptions, and it was on like shit. Like I love. You know what I mean? Like I like watching movies. I like watching shows. Music is big, but I had one for like Apple Family Package, and it was just me on the family package. Like going into the mindset, like I'm gonna pay for somebody else's.
Well, like some dumb stuff, like like if you're a Verizon customer or whatever, you get Paramount Plus for 12 months, okay? Well, I'm one of those customers who I still have Paramount Plus, but I'm past my 12-month thing, so now I'm paying for Paramount Plus. I completely forgot about it because I added on. like dumb things like I'm paying for Spotify right now, but I'm a Verizon customer. I get Apple Music for free, but I just like Spotify so much. I'm like, I don't want to not have Spotify. I have all my playlists, shit like that on there. But so like, there's just little things like that, like like I'm not stupid either. I'm gonna have that Apple Music for free. I'm not gonna not miss out on that. Even regardless if I'm using it or not, I'm gonna take advantage of it. So that's why I think it was a good time that when you got me into the credit stuff like Amex and some of the other stuff, really going into those benefits of those bigger companies, man, because like they that's what they want you. They don't want you to look too deep in their finance. They want you to just use it without taking advantage of those benefits. It's up to you to do your research and look into that and learn what they're actually giving you, because they're not going to go out there and blatantly say, hey, we're going to give you so much money off, or we're going to give you this much money back, or whatever. You got to look for that stuff on their website or on the apps or whatever. So like reading the fine details and things like that too on anything is very, very important. But yeah, I know credit is one of those things you really got to look into and read, because there is not a whole lot of resources for it out there. Like you really have to go into it. Like you can go on YouTube, but it's just a general idea. Mm-hmm. You need to look up specific videos of what one card actually does. Like research specifically the Delta Airlines, Platinum card through Amex, or the Blue Cash Preferred, Capital One. Actually, like look up videos of certain cards and reviews and stuff like that, and learn about those cards and see how they benefit you, because that's one thing that I've never went into and never looked at. My parents have never really got into it. I can't tell you how much money my parents would have if they had the Delta card, because they fly a lot, and they've never once looked into getting a Delta card or something, or like a Legion card or some sort of air, because they fly probably 3 times a year. I mean, they go a lot, and so that's one thing they just never got into, and that's just a downfall of that. And I don't blame my parents on that. Like if my parents were trying to fill me in on all this stuff in high school, I wouldn't be like, I don't care about this. Why does this matter to me? I don't have enough money. I barely have enough money to wipe my ass. Like why does it matter to me now? But
we're getting close to time on this podcast. Mm-hmm. It was super awesome. It was kind of off the cuff. Questions weren't really like specific or anything like that. And most of our podcasts aren't really specific based, because speaking from the heart is one of the biggest things that I'm truly passionate about. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, man, like the questions weren't really all there and in sync. Look, this was just 2 friends getting together, 2 business partners getting together, just talking. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. We'll have many more in the future where they are less off the cuff, and they're going to get more professional as time goes on. Brewing Wealth is something that, I think we both care about. And we think that it's going to both, put value to people's lives. I think in the future, for sure, as of like this year, one of the biggest things for me is my own YouTube channel that should be coming out here this year at some point, where we can attach that to Brewing Wealth, where I really want to talk to people from the young age experience about how to use credit, how to use debt, and how to better financially set up your life while also living a great life. And Brewing Wealth is also going to help out with that as well, by talking to different people and motivating you to go out there and do something about it. I think this podcast was awesome. Dustin really got to talk about how you just went out there and did it, and building skill sets is super big for you. We're 2 different guys who came together, and we're great friends now. I think this was awesome.
This is much better than that other one we recorded.
That
one will never see the light of day.
Brewing Wealth is a podcast for everybody. Not just a podcast, but a brand. Be on the lookout for the new website. We'll also be having some merch in the future as well. We'll see where this goes. I'm super excited. Once again, thank you for Withroom Coffee. We should be having an ad pop up in between some of this. The man, the myth, the legend is going to do all that for us. Don't forget, guys, hashtag calculated risk. Hashtag calculated approaches. Everything has to be calculated, It's all cool.
Hashtag brewing that wealth.
Actually brewing that wealth, I think this was awesome. Coffee was good. I can't stop sipping. This is the most time This is the most time I've been like, I got the white chocolate caramel.
This was delicious. Definitely delicious.
I love this area. I love the plant life. Love the music. This is my type of vibe. So I think it's gonna be awesome. It's still winter outside, if you guys didn't know. So that's why we're all dressed up like this all the time. But to keep this nice and short, Dustin, awesome. We'll be on more podcasts in the future. AJ's out next. Boom. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. See you around. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Brewing Wealth.
You can go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. We'll be on all of our social platforms. And don't forget to subscribe and like on YouTube as well.
We'll see you guys in the next one.